How's everybody? Welcome back to class. Those of you who I have seen before, those of you who I have not seen before, welcome as well. So just a recap on the conditionals. I think I didn't recap it pretty well the last time. So this time I'm going to give you a better recap. Okay, zero conditionals are conditionals for things that always happen. They have 100% chance happening. Okay. If it is morning, the sun rises from the east. If it always happens that way, it is a conditional. Okay, it's a zero conditional, which means that it always happens that way. Okay, type 1 conditional means that there's a high chance of something happening, right? So high chance of something happening. If John is late for school, he will take a taxi. Okay, there's a very high chance that he will do it. You use a type 1 conditional. Okay, type 2 conditional, you have a very low chance, or it is almost impossible. Okay, yes, and type 3 conditional is if you go back in time. Okay, so we don't need to copy this too much. You go back in time to do things differently is type 3 conditional. So an imaginary situation, yeah? Okay, so zero conditional here is the present simple tense and the present simple tense. First condition, present simple plus will infinitive. Second conditional, past simple plus would infinitive. And the third conditional, past perfect plus would have past participle. So we're not going to do this topic again just to refresh your memory. We're not going to go through it in that much detail, just to help you remember, right? Though we don't forget what we have learned. So today's word of the day. I realized that I didn't give you word of the day for the last class, but today's word of the day is cerulean. Cerulean. You know, when you write your compositions, you will say that, oh, wow, there was a brilliant blue sky, or the skies were azure blue. Okay, let's try a new word. Okay, the skies were cerulean. Oh wow, your shirt is so cerulean. These are my new cerulean shoes. Right? Yeah. So cerulean is just another color. It's meant to mention something that's blue, like the sky. Yeah, the cerulean sky brightened my day. Okay, so the Latin word cerulean comes from the Latin word ceruleus, which means dark blue. Okay, it can also mean light blue or bright blue, but it generally means dark blue. Likely from Salem, the Latin word of sky. An artist rendering of sky blue in oils or watercolor might choose a tube of cerulean blue pigment. So instead of saying azure blue or a bright blue, we will now use the word cerulean blue. So that's the word of the day. Hope you have a cerulean blue day tomorrow. Right? Today's lesson, it's quite easy. It's the comprehension open-ended. Okay, so for some of you who have come to this lesson before, that's fine. Hang on. I need to explain the questions to the people who have just come for the first time. So while I'm going through the questions, you must be a bit patient. Don't rush me to finish things, okay? So before we go through how should you do open-ended questions, we're not going to do open-ended technically because we only have the MCQ function. But for open-ended questions, you need to do these 4 things. First, read the passage once to understand the main ideas, okay? Just the main ideas, right? And read the questions to make sure that you underline the tense and the keywords, okay? Underline the tense and the keywords. Lastly, third one, revisit the passage for each question and mark out where the answer is before writing it down. Okay, it's an important step for accuracy. And last, check your answers correctly for spelling and grammar errors. So this is grammar errors, right? If you see the word did in your question, did someone do that or did someone do this? But you answer in present tense, then you are going to get your marks deducted, okay? So be very certain when you see the word did or does or do, okay, these words tell you the tense of the questions that you are supposed to answer. So when it asks you in present tense, you answer in present tense. If it asks you in past tense, you answer in past tense. Let's look at this. This is a direct question. Frank was the most mischievous boy in his class. He loved to play pranks on his classmates. He took great satisfaction from the look on their faces whenever they fell prey to his tricks. Everybody in class had been targeted by him, even though he had been reprimanded for his actions. He never learned his lesson. So which word in the first paragraph, in this paragraph, means victim? Yes, the answer is prey. Now, I wouldn't consider Frank a bully. He is more like a prankster than a bully. So bullies, right? They usually don't do tricks. They don't play tricks on people. They don't do it for fun. Bullies do it because they want to feel good when other people are suffering. That's a bully. But a prankster or trickster doesn't bully people because he likes to see others suffer. He bullies them because he feels that it's fun. Like when a trick is done successfully, he feels happy, but not because another person suffers. Okay, the suffering may be there, but it's not as much as a bully. Okay, so the answer for this is prey. Very good. Now before I carry on, these are the 4 options for question 12. Now, I cannot put the entire text down for you because it's too many words and you can't see everything. Okay, you can't see everything. So I want you right now to either do a screen capture or to take a picture of this screen, right? As I'm going through the passage with you, as we are doing the questions, you mentally note in your mind, right, which one happens first, which ones happen second, third, and fourth. Okay, so we're going to do a sequence for this one. We're going to do the sequence. So which happens first, which happens second, third, and fourth. While you are doing, think about it. Note it down in your head as you are doing this. Okay, which happens first, second, third, and fourth. And then at question 12, you just choose the right answer. Okay, so I'm going to show you the passage right now. First paragraph. Let's look at this. Frank was the most mischievous boy in class. He loved to play pranks on his classmates, blah, blah, blah. Now, question 1, what did Frank look forward to when he plays pranks on his classmate? Answer for this, for those of you who have come for the first time for this lesson, those of you who have come before, bear with me. The answer for this is number 2, okay? He looked forward to seeing the expression on their faces. Okay, so look forward to we can understand what it means by looking at this word here. Okay, took great satisfaction. If you take great satisfaction from something, it is something you derive a lot of joy from. Similarly to the, yes, I have watched The Vegan Teacher. Okay, similarly to the word look forward, which means this person enjoys something a lot. Okay, now looks on their faces, we can rephrase this as expressions on their faces. So sometimes if you want to change it to your own words, it's fine. Okay, there are no additional points for you to change it to your own words, but if you do it well, your teachers will be quite impressed and you will get probably a few language marks. Okay, in secondary school, not yet. Okay, next, number 2, one morning. When paragraph 2, think about it carefully. One morning, okay, look at the 12 questions that I showed you. Think about this as well. When you look at question 12, see which happens first. One morning, Frank returned to class after recess. He noticed that there was nobody sitting outside his classroom doing silent reading. Why not? Am I late for class? He thought to himself. When he looked into the room, nobody was there. That's strange. It's already 11 o'clock and not a soul is around, he said to himself. He looked at the whiteboard. There was a message that the class was in the music room. Why didn't anyone inform me about this? This, he grumbled. Now I have to go all the way to the second level and I will be late. Okay, so question 2. All right, not too bad. We have 70% of the people getting this right. Many of you chose number 2. Now, it's very important to read very carefully this portion here. Okay, for those of you coming for the first time, right? Why didn't anyone inform me about this? Now, does he want people to inform him about that message, or does he want to know the content of the message? Right? It doesn't refer to the message of the whiteboard. Nobody wants to inform him about that message. He wants people to inform him that the class is in the music room. He doesn't want people to inform him about that message, right? He wants to know the content of the message. And the content of that message is that the class is in the music room. Okay, so the answer is number 4. Okay, the message on the whiteboard is not what he wants to know. Okay, he wants to know the content, which is where the class is. Okay, okay, number 3. Frank was worried that he would be late. Paragraph 3. As his music teacher, Mr. Chan was very particular, right? He is very strict about punctuality. Mr. Chan was very particular over punctuality. Hurriedly, he made his way down 4 flights of stairs to the music room. As he headed towards the music room, he was puzzled, as it was a mathematics lesson with Mr. Raj at this time. Why would we be having a music lesson now? So it's very strange. They want him to go to the music room, but it's math lesson. So why would he be going to the music room for math lesson? Why? I went to the music room for math lesson once because our room was being renovated. Our classroom was being renovated. Okay, but this is a different story altogether. It's not that many. Okay, better than the previous one. We have 75%. Are you getting this right? The answer for this is number 1. The most of you answered number 2. And if you fell for number 2, right? If you fell for number 2, it is possible that he's not afraid of Mr. Chan. Okay. But you see, when you look at this sentence as it is, now Mr. Chan was very particular over punctuality, right? And because of his particularity over punctuality, it made Frank worried. So we can infer that he is worried not about being late itself. He is worried about Mr. Chan's treatment of him if he was late. Okay, I repeat again, he's not worried about being late. If I'm late, right, and my teacher is like, relax, hey, boy, relax. You're late, never mind. Then I wouldn't be so worried. Okay. But if my teacher is like, you're late, you stand up for the whole lesson, or you pull your ears, it's so humiliating, right? And then it means that, you know, I will be quite afraid of being late. Okay, so we can't say for sure that he's not afraid of Mr. Chan, right? We can infer that number 1 is the answer. He was particular over punctuality, so Frank was worried about being late. So number 1, right, is a better answer than number 2, right? So number 4, he was out of breath by the time he reached the music room. To his surprise, there was no sign that anyone was around. Oh man, they asked me to go to the music room and nobody's there. There was a note pasted on the door. What? There's another note, So someone is planning something. Surely I don't believe this, he exclaimed after he read it. What are they doing in the multi-purpose hall? What are they doing in the multi-purpose hall? So after he read the note, he thinks to himself, what are they doing in the multi-purpose hall? Surely it can't be time for PE now. Clue. Frank hurriedly ran up the stairs and headed straight for the multi-purpose hall. By the time he reached there, he was exhausted. When he entered the hall, he saw another class having PE, but it was not his class. He was exasperated. And he was not sure what to do next. Okay, so the answer for this question, he learns that it was number 4. He learned that the class was in the multi-purpose hall and not in the music room. Okay. Now, the message didn't tell him that another class was having PE, right? The message didn't tell him that it was time for PE. The message didn't tell him that the music room was locked. Okay. The message, the note pasted says that the class is in the multi-purpose hall. That's why he's asking himself, what are they doing in the multi-purpose hall? So the message here is not obvious to you. We call these types of question, okay? If you cannot find the answer directly from the text, you need to think about it. It's called an inference question. Okay, we need to think about it, right? What is on the note? The note will obviously say, hey, the class is in the music room, and the multi-purpose hall. Okay, not the rest of the three. The other three, okay, are not what is on the note. The other three is what is happening, but it's not what is written on the note. All right, number 5. He was out of breath now. Same excerpt, same paragraph. Find a word in paragraph 4, which is the same meaning as frustrated. Okay, so the word with the similar meaning as frustrated is very easily exasperated. Now, the next highest answer that we get is for number 3, exhausted. Now, exhausted is different from frustrated. Exhausted means you are tired. Okay, I'm not going to go through this too much in detail. Number 6. At that moment, there was an announcement over the public address system. Frankly, from primary 5, thoughtful. Please proceed to computer room 1. Your class is there waiting for you. By that time, Frank was so tired that he could only walk up to the computer room. That he could only slowly walk up to the computer room. Walk slowly up, sorry. Frank was perspiring, so the air-conditioned computer room was a welcome sight. I hope they are here, Frank thought to himself. His classmates were staring at him and a few were sniggering at him. His teacher, Mr. Raj, asked, where were you, Frank? I had to get the office to make an announcement to find you. Frank apologized sheepishly. Which word has a similar meaning to smirking? Okay, question number 6 in 3, 2, 1. Very easy. Smirking. Answer for this is number 1. Okay, number 1. Smirking. Sniggering is to laugh. And to cover your mouth while you laugh is to snigger. Okay, to laugh at someone secretly is to snigger. Next, question 7. At the same one. Which word in paragraph 5 has the same meaning or similar meaning as bashfully? Okay, anyways, the answer for number 7, the answer is sheepishly. Now, there's another word which is the same meaning as bashful, in case you don't already know. And the word with the same meaning as bashful is the word shyly. Shyly has the same meaning as bashful, but you can't find bashfully. You can't find the word shyly in the text. You can find the word sheepishly though. So sheepishly has the same meaning as bashfully. Okay, sheepishly. So if you're sheepish, you're embarrassed. Bashfully, you're embarrassed. So yeah, when someone is embarrassed about something, you can use bashfully. What's not in the paragraph? Number 8. Okay, we're at the same paragraph now. The statement in blue, Frank was grateful to enter the computer room. Okay, same paragraph. Is the statement in blue true or false? Why do you think so? We don't have, we have many of you answering number 3. False, he had to apologize to Mr. Raj while his classmates were staring and sniggering at him. Now, it's a very good guess actually, and it's one of the options where I deliberately made quite hard for you. So it's not surprising that many of you chose this answer, but let's look here. Okay, now we first look at the word grateful, okay, and find a word that is similar to grateful. And we look at this word here, welcome sight, which is very similar to grateful. And then we look at this part here. Frank was perspiring, so the air-conditioned room was a welcome sight. So we look at the first thing that happens. Okay, was he grateful to enter the computer room? Yes, he was grateful to enter the computer room because it says it's a welcome sight. Now, would he be happy that his classmates are sniggering at him? Probably not. But when he entered at that moment, he was quite happy, right? He was quite grateful. Right? Aircon at last. And you know, Singapore, how warm it is. No, 3 is wrong. 3 is wrong. I'm sorry. Okay, if you are confused, right? If you're confused, no, 3 is wrong. 3 is wrong. The correct answer is 2. Right? The correct answer is 2. 3 is wrong. I have to stop doing this and circling the wrong answers. I will cancel the wrong answers. Okay, 3 is wrong. Number 2 is the right answer. Number 9. At that moment, there was a Announcement in the public system, public address system. Frankly, from primary 5 thoughtful, please proceed to computer 1. Okay, same paragraph. Let's talk about question 9. Did Mr. Raj know that Frank's classmate had played a prank on him? Use information from the passage to support your answer. Okay, so I'm giving you 1 minute to answer this in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, let's look at the answers. Many of you chose answer number 4, which is the correct answer. The next, some of you chose 2 and 3. Okay, answer number 4 is the correct answer. We know that Mr. Raj doesn't know, okay, that his classmates played a prank on him. Now, a teacher wouldn't walk all the way to the office to make an announcement, right? They want to teach their class. They don't want to waste time teaching their class. So the answer is definitely number 4. Number 2 is very logical. Frank's classmate would have laughed loudly at him if Mr. Raj was involved in the prank. But if we had to compare reasoning, right, between this one and this one, I would say that this one is a better answer. I have some students who wrote this answer. In the past when I was teaching this. Yeah. And I thought for a really long time whether to give them the mark or not. Okay, because it's logical. But you see, there's something so obvious here, this one. Okay, such an obvious point. Right? And you have something a lot less obvious, which is this one. Okay. You should use the more obvious one. If you use the less obvious one, if your teacher is kind, no, there's no copyrighted education things at all. Okay. So if your teacher is kind, your teacher may give you the mark, right? But we don't want to leave our marks in the hands of a kind teacher. We cannot afford it to be left to chance. Okay, so always use the more obvious answer. Okay. There are always more than one answers for English, but we always use the best answer. Okay, bonus question time. Is the statement in blue true or false? Frank was in the computer room having a music lesson. Let's answer question number 10. Bonus question in 3, 2, 1. Okay, the answer for bonus question is number 3. Okay, false. It was not the music teacher, Mr. Chan, but the math teacher, Mr. Raj. Okay, false. It was not the music teacher, Mr. Chan, but rather the math teacher, Mr. Raj, who was in the computer room with the class. Okay, Mr. Chan was not teaching in electronic music class. This one is definitely not correct. Okay, this is wrong as well. So the only answer for this is number 3. Okay, question number 10. I'm going to read paragraph 5 and 6 for you. Okay, just read paragraph 6. So the last paragraph. When he tried to ask his classmates how they knew that the lesson was at the computer room, everyone avoided answering. He suspected his classmates had played a prank on him. Although he did not find out who was responsible, he knew it was in response to the prank he had played on his classmates in the past. He never did so again after this incident. So which of these pieces of evidence does not show that his classmates had played a prank on him? Okay, is it number 1? Mr. Raj had to get to the general office to make an announcement to find Frank. Number 2, he saw that a few of his classmates were sniggering when he entered the computer lab. Number 3, his classmates avoided his questions about how they knew the lesson was at the computer lab. Okay, number 11 in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so which of this class shows that? Now, number 1, Mr. Raj had to get to the general office to make an announcement to find Frank. Okay, this one definitely does not show that his classmates played a prank on him. Okay, the classmates snigger, laugh at him when he entered the computer lab. This one, for sure, tells you that the classmates played a prank on him. They avoided his questions when he asked them how they knew that the lesson was at the computer lab. For sure. This tells you that they played a prank on him. So answer number 1, Mr. Raj goes to the general office to find Frank. We know that this does not show that his classmates played a prank on him. Okay, so we're done with the normal questions. Now question 11. Okay, we have a couple more questions to go. Yeah, a couple more questions. So question 11, when he tried to ask his classmates how they knew the lesson was at the computer room, everyone avoided answering. Everyone avoided answering. He suspected his classmates had played a prank on him, although he did not find out who was responsible. He knew it was in response to all the pranks he played his classmates in the past. He never did so again after this incident. Okay, question 11 in 3, 2, 1. Okay, launch. Okay, so the answer for this is the forward phrase that tells you that he learned his lesson, never did so again, right? So straightforward, right? It cannot be any of the others. Did so again after doesn't make sense. Again after this incident, he never did so. Okay, he never did so is close, but not quite correct. Never did so again is the important word. Okay, never did so again. Okay, question 12 now. Okay, we've gone through everything. We've gone through everything. And question 12. All right. Okay, so the answer for this, let's see. We have got, oh, very few of you got this correct. So if we read the passage, right, what happened first? At the very start, when Frank went to class, he saw the message, right? He saw the message, right? No, he first saw that there was no one in the classroom. So this happened first. When he went to class, there was no one in the classroom. After there was no one in the classroom, okay, he thought, oh, maybe they are in the music room. Okay, so on the whiteboard, right, he thought that sorry, I'm wrong. He had to see the message first. Okay, he saw the message on the whiteboard, okay, which tells him that he has to go down to the music room. But before he walked down to the music room, he was first worried about being late for the lesson. Okay, he was first worried about being late for the lesson. And finally, after worrying about it, after reading the message, like, oh my gosh, I'm late, he finally walked down to the music room. Okay, contextual vocabulary time. Very good. 131 of you got that right. Quite sad. I expected more. Prank is defined as a crazy, or if something is really crazy out of this world, we call this ludicrous. Okay, there's a rapper that I used to like called Ludacris. Okay, maybe we're not in the same generation, right? But that's how I learned this word. His name was Ludacris. Then I went to type his name and I learned this word ludicrous, which means kind of crazy, okay, or a very outlandish act. It can also be referred to as an antic. Okay, so a prank, right? A prank or a crazy act is an antic. Not attic. Attic is like the roof, a room in the roof. An antic is a crazy act or trick. And if you like to play pranks on people, any of you are pranksters here, don't be a bully. You can be a prankster, but don't be a bully, right? You are a prankster or a practical joker, right? Okay, so what we learned today, direct questions. We learned about vocabulary questions. So when you see, right, pick out a similar word from the passage, right? You need to know the synonyms and antonyms. Okay, inference questions, right, are questions where you cannot directly find the answer. Okay, and for true, false, and the reason questions, now listen very carefully, true, false, and reason questions, right? Your reasons should have, be very aware of this, use the same words as the words you see in the passage. Okay, when you are listing out the reasons for the true false questions, a lot of students try to change words. And this is the section where I would advise you against changing any words. Because when you change words, right, the teacher cannot find that you understand that as a reason. So while you're doing the reason questions, use the same words, copy and paste. Don't try to. Okay, and last one, sequencing questions. What you do, right, boys and girls, before you even start reading the passage, read the sequencing question first. That's my tip to you, my golden tip for your PSLE, golden tip.